I was going to say, how are you all doing? But that would probably waste about a quarter of this interview. So I'll just assume you're all doing well. I'm going to start with you, Camron. Obviously with a TV series like this off the back of a kind of successful series of books, I always anticipate there being a really kind of arduous, long-standing casting process. What was it like for you? What was your experience in that regard?
Oh, getting the part. It was actually pretty crazy. I auditioned for it when they shot the pilot, like a year prior to when we started filming. And I didn't get the pilot, but a year later they hit me up and I was like, oh my gosh, I actually got a call back. This is crazy. They remember me. So it was pretty funny, but it was really cool. I remember like just going out to Texas and reading with Jess and Liv. And I was like, wow, these are some really cool people. And I really want to work with them. And I'm happy that I got to.
And Ray, I was going to come to you next. I mean, obviously, we've sort of mentioned this is sort of based on a popular series of books. Have you had much dialogue yet with fans? And do you feel a pressure when getting involved in something that has a sort of a pre-established kind of fan base already in tune?
I haven't engaged much with fans yet. But I think that there's less pressure. I think that, obviously there are some changes between the book and the series. And I think that that's exciting for fans, but I'm just really more excited at the opportunity that the show has provided. So grateful.
And Jessica, was it helpful having Lauren on hand here? Because I know obviously a lot of sort of authors of novels will kind of write it and then they don't have much involvement with the kind of series, but she was obviously so heavily involved in this instance. Did you ever find yourself kind of needing to go to her and ask questions about the character and where you think the character should be?
I think with Lauren, because she was so busy writing the episodes at the beginning, and during the casting process, she was on hand to just give like hints and tips and like the elements about you that she really likes for the character and the things that she wants like played up more, and she helped me out prior to filming. Like my first day, we had like a long phone conversation, and then she would like pop in and out. But she was like the puppet master somewhere, like writing our futures. And she would occasionally like to pop by, but I think she was cool because the way that everything was cast, it was the way that we were supposed to be. So it was more like little bits and bobs that we would ask for help with. But she's pretty like out there, just focused on the story. She'd put a lot of confidence in us as the characters.
And Olivia, I mean, there's some big kind of moments and sequences in this, and obviously it's a kind of quite a heightened take, let's say, on reality. But what was it? How was it kind of connected to the human elements of the characters? Because there's a lot of human aspects to this too, isn't there? Sort of difficult relationships with family and friends, and overcoming kind of personal demons and barriers and stuff that kind of works quite well with the kind of bigger, sort of more the sort of set pieces, let's say, in the series.
Yeah. Well, even Lauren this morning said, that, and she said this all along, that it's like the game of panic is kind of like an allegory for the things that you go through in real life, and especially at that age. And I think for me, every time I would get an episode and like be working on it, I would just think of like like all the scenes with Rachel Bay Jones, who played my mom, who's so incredible. Like all those things were so grounded, and like Ray and I worked a lot on our scenes and just like about the tracking of relationships and the things that we wanted to like implement into our scenes and the characters' relationships. So I think everyone was very mindful of, since the show is so big and it's almost like magical realism, the things that these kids pull off and the things that we do, that every episode we really took the scenes that were grounded and like really made them everything that they could be, so that all of it's together and justified.
And Camron, I was going to ask you next. Obviously, I was watching episode 1 a couple of days ago as well. I've watched more than that, and then there's that scene where they've got a kind of party, and it just made me think. Those kind of American teen movie and series where you get those parties and there's like 150 people there, and there's games and there's red cups. Are they real? Do they actually happen? Because in England, I'd be lucky to get like 7 people to my house on holiday, and I always just wonder if these parties that you see in kind of movies and series actually replicate real life.
I think it depends on where you are. I mean, sometimes yeah, sometimes no. There have been some crazy high school parties, but definitely not in my
High
home.
school? God, I did absolutely nothing in high school. Comprehensive school is where I went.
Yeah, Olivia, I was going to ask you, I mean, obviously there's the show is in many ways about kind of overcoming fears and stuff like that. Have you got any kind of fears? I don't mean that in a kind of really serious, deep way, but more like, be it jumping out of a plane or kind of spiders or anything like that.
Yeah, I've got 3, and one of them I discovered on the show. I've got a crazy fear of snakes. I have a crazy fear of the deep sea. And I discovered doing like the stunt for episode 1 that I like can't, I'm not necessarily like afraid of heights, but jumping off high things, I really couldn't. I had a horrible time. Not horrible. I did it. I got over it. But I was so freaked out at the beginning by jumping off of a high place.
I was going to say, I always get a fear that my internet's going to go down during an interview on Zoom. And just
That's
a new phobia. That's developed.
Jessica, I was going to come to you next because I was wondering, looking at kind of what you've done so far in your career, and there's obviously Skins in there, and I know by the time you join there'd be some kind of success stories. What do you think it is about that show that seems to breed such amazing talent? Because it's not just yourself. I mean, obviously there's Nicholson, Patel, and Jack O'Connor. It seems to be a kind of stomping ground for really great young British actors and actresses.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to Skins because I think what it was, they put faith in a lot of people who were young. I mean, look, I'm a bit older now and portraying someone younger than me. But at the time with Skins, I think I auditioned when I was 15 and then got it at 16, and we had very formative years. The writers were very young, the producers were young. It was a stomping ground of like just practicing like your craft and like what everyone wanted to do. So it was a really cool launch pad. I don't know. It's been hard though. There's been a lot of ups and downs. Like I had a spell, like I know, is my internet unstable? My Zoom is shouting at me. We had a lot of ups and downs, like, well, I did. And I think, had a moment of like, I don't know what I'm doing because I started so young. But Skins was always so helpful to have on the resume. Like it's somehow become sort of immortalized in a way I never expected. So I think they just gave us a chance because I did an open audition, just giving people a chance. And, it's what you do from there really, isn't it?
Well, I did the same, it seems, of this as well, and it's got great results because I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far. But best of luck with the.
I'm so happy.
Cheers and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!